Okay, hello guys. Uh, Still waiting for a few of us to come on board. Hello, Bukari. Welcome, welcome. Let's wait for a few more of our people to join us and then we can continue. I'm a bit late. Sorry about that. So let's wait for about a minute or two and then we can proceed. Let's wait for about a minute or two and then we proceed. I always like for a few of us to be here before we kick things off. Otherwise, to be just a few of us talking to ourselves. So, uh, just a few more seconds and I'll go to today's topic. Okay. All right. It's looking okay. It's looking good so far. Looking good so far. So, I think we can start. What I want to do today, I'll be giving it to us as assignment. So we don't have this file that I'm working with currently. But what we can do is any of our old projects so far, we can open one of them, right? And then we can use it to follow along. We can use it to follow along what we'll be doing today, right? So just open any of our previous assignments and then we can use that to continue working. I'll give this to us as an assignment, so let's not stress ourselves. Okay, so I think we can start. The rest will join us later. Let me copy this page as usual. All right, so let me clear the heading, the questions. Right. Can someone help Jonas connect? I think he's having a bit of problem. So if someone can volunteer to help him out. All right, so this data, we'll be working on it very shortly, but until then, we'll be using it for today's class. Like I'm saying, if you have an old assignment, just open one of them and let's work. Let me change this to the correct format, short dates preferably, and we'll be using some of the questions here for today's lesson, right? We use some of the questions to do today's activities. Today we are looking at data cleaning. Okay, we'll clean the data that we work with, and then which one first? Which one first? We look at index, and then we look at match. Okay, so these three things are what we are treating today. They are not so difficult, very simple, especially the first option. Oh, nobody is minding Jonas. Okay, let me take a few moments to answer him. Da, 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 da. I think it's just security something. Uh, okay, right. So let's go on. First thing about the data cleaning, it's more of trying to get your data in the right format, right? So that we can, yeah, somebody sent in the link. Okay. Trying to get the data in the right format so that we can use it to do our analysis. Okay. Yeah, if you remember in our previous assignment so far, right? We have places where some of the data is missing, right? And then I'll ask you to count the number of cells that have data in them, right? Yes, those are that means the data is not clean, right? If you're going to use your data for analysis, it's always good that you don't leave empty cells, right? Like this one here. There should be something you do about it, right? There should be something like over here, NA, 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 right? NA means there's no data, right? In some situations, you might be okay, you can use it like this. In other situations too, it may affect the results of your analysis. So you would have, in such situations, you would have to look at how you handle these ones, right? Okay. Um, the one I want us to look at is places where, yes, for example, if you take a look at the, yeah, I thought I cleared these things. Let me see. I thought I cleared the questions. Oh, so there's so many questions. Okay, so let me clear the rest. Let me clear these ones as well. Right. And then I will get rid of them. Good. There are situations where, for example, the age column in my work here, right? In your work, there are columns where you realize that the data are, some of the cells are missing data, right? Like here, right? Over here, right? So that means that our data is not clean enough. You have to clean it up, handle all these empty cells, right? And mostly in the field, you'll be told what to do, right? If there are empty cells, they'll tell you, okay, just put the NA, right? Put the NA to represent missing cells. In other situations too, you'll be told to find the average of some of the values to fill over here. So for example, if the person is in the IT field, you can be told to find the average of the age of the people in IT field and use it to fill this site, right? That's one way of handling these empty fields, right? And when you do that, it means you are cleaning your data, right? You are preparing it for analysis. So let's look at one of such scenarios where we are told to use the average age of the person's department, right? The person's department and then their position in the department. So if you look closely, and let me expand. Yeah, I think the last time Joshua complained that, yeah, so let me make it a bit bigger, right? And then this is our heading. So always prudent to give it a different color. Good. Um, you realize that the department comes with job titles, right? So every department, and then I think they have similar job titles in every department. So I'll create another Excel sheet like that, right? Then I think we can find our various departments. How many departments do we have, right? How many departments do we have? We can, to quickly know how many departments we have, we just have to apply our filters, right? So I'll select the first column heading, then the last column heading, right? I've highlighted the whole column heading section. I'll go to my data, then apply my filtering, right? So now I can know how many departments by going to the department filter, and there's quite a number of them. So yes, before we even look at how to handle the empty cells, let's look at how to handle this situation. If you take oops, right, I forgot you guys can see my pop-up. Yeah, sorry about that. But in my pop-up, you see that even without going to the pop-up, when you look at the data over here in the department, realize that we have operations, we have HR, and then we have HR. Look at this. These two are supposed to be the same, right? HR, H.R, and then HR. They are supposed to be the same thing, but if we leave it like this, Excel is going to read them as two separate departments, and we'll get a wrong reading. So maybe if you have just one department for HR, to say we have two departments for HR, right? And look over here at the row 16, we even have human resource, referring to the same department, but Excel will tell you have about 3 different departments for HR. That is not a good thing, right? So in such an instance, what we do to clean this data is to use our search and find and replace, right? Our find and replace. So we have to find the HR, right? Or anything that says human resource and replace it with, say, HR. So this one, we'll remove this and we'll want to keep this one, HR, just this simple one. We want to get rid of this one, and then we also want to get rid of this one, right? Okay, so to do that, we have to use our find and then replace. To get your find, you press down your control key and then you press the F, right? So control plus F, right? Control plus F will open a pop-up, right? It will open a pop-up, and then in the pop-up, it will ask you what you want to find, right? And then you provide that, right? And then we have 2 tabs when that pop-up comes. You have the find part and then have the replace tab, right? If you want to go to the find part of that pop-up, you do the control plus H. But if you want to go to the straight away, right? Straight away, you want to go into the replace, right? You do control plus H, right? That will take you straight to the replace section. And because you want to replace, I'll do control plus H. I'll just be talking and describing what has appeared in my pop-up, but you should also do control plus H so that you see how it looks like. Even though I'm going to look for H.R, you can use your Excel file and try to find something in your data, right? And replace something in your data, okay? So I'm going to look for H.R. So I'll type in my find what, it's asking me find what. So I'll type in H.R. And then it's asking me replace with what. So I'll say HR, right? Say HR. And then at the bottom of the pop-up, it's asking me, should I replace or should I replace just the first thing? We want it to replace everywhere we have H.R, H.R, H.R. So I'll select replace all, right? Select replace all. Then it says it was able to replace 10 records for me. So I just click on OK. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but as you can see, all my h.r are now gone. Now I have just hr, right? I have just hr. Then the next thing is to take care of my human resource. I don't want human resource, I want hr, right? So I'll just go back, Control H. Then in my find what, I will write out human resource, right? And then in my replace with, I'll still write the HR and I'll select replace all, right? It says it was able to replace 15 records for me, right? So as you can see, there's no more, how do you call it? Human resource, just HR. There's no more h.r, just HR. So when I click back on my filter for the department, you realize that I have just one HR now, right? So let me do for the finance as well. You can't see my pop-up, sorry about that. Oh goodness. Right, so in my finance part, let me see. In the finance, we have this finance here, and then when you look through, there is this guy here, fin dot over here, right? We don't want that. What we want is just finance, right? Just finance like this, right? So we change the fin to finance. So I'll still do my Control H. Then in my find what, I'll just type in my fin dot. Then in my replace with, I will type out my finance, and then I'll click on replace all, and it says it was able to replace 10 records, right? So now you see that this guy was fin dot is now showing finance, right? Good. When I go back to my filtering for the department, I now have just one finance and I have one HR, but I still have IT problems, right? So IT over here, as you can see, these are IT. I like this one. But when I come here, there's IT debt department. I don't like this guy, right? So still the same process, Control H. So what I'm doing is what we usually do on a daily basis, right? As a data analyst, you clean the data before you can be able to work with it, right? Otherwise, it will give you wrong figures, right? So all this just for me to know the number of departments, right? Because I realize that some of the departments are repeating, right? So I have to correct that so that I get the real or actual number of departments, right? Okay, so still the same process, Control H, then in my find what, I wrote IT department, and then in my replace with, I wrote IT. I'll go ahead and click on replace all, and then it says it was able to change 9 records for me, right? So as you can see, whatever was written for IT, the IT department, is actually all gone. And then there is this guy here, I.T. I don't like I.T. I just like the IT, right? So still the same thing, Control plus H. Then in my find what, I'll do I.T. and then replace with, I do IT, right? Replace all. And we now have very good looking IT department, right? Okay, if there are questions, you can ask me, but if there are no questions, I'm proceeding. Good. Let me look at my filtering again, right? So I have to do this all the way for every single department that has mistakes. The next department that has mistake is the operations department, right? Operations. There's operations here, but when I go down, it says that there is this guy, ops, right? I don't like the ops, I like operations. I want to keep the operations and get rid of the ops, right? So it's still the same process, Control H. Then in my find what, I clean my ops and I put the operations, right? Then I replace all and click on OK. So as you can see, the ops has changed to operations, right? When I go back to my filtering, I now have single records of all the departments with uniform names, right? So that question is in over here. It says format the hide. No, that standardize. So question C, right? Let me make this bigger. The question C says standardize the department names. For example, I.T versus IT, ops versus operations, right? Just give them a uniform name. So that's what we have done. We have cleaned the data and gotten rid of all those things that are not needed. All right. I think one more of the cleaning question is somewhere here. It says ensure all the employee IDs are unique. Right. That's what it's saying. So it means that some of the employee IDs are repeating. Right. We don't like IDs to repeat. There's no way your ID card number will be shared with another person. For example, our Ghana card, right? We don't share the same number with any other person apart from us. When we are writing BC, WASI, our ID cards are always unique, right? To us, right? But right now, it says that there are some of them, our employee IDs should never repeat, right? It should never happen. So saying that some of them have repeated, and we are supposed to take care of that. We are supposed to handle such a situation where ID cards or employee IDs are repeating. So far, I can't see any, but the question says there are some that are repeating, right? So we have to make sure there are no repetitions. There are no repeats. I'm trying to, yes, look at this guy. Employee 1 has repeated all the way down here, right? It has repeated all the way down here. I'm sure when we go up, we'll see employee 1, right? Look, there's another ID employee 1. It shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't be happening. So you are supposed to correct such a situation. Okay, you're supposed to correct such a situation. What we usually do, right? Yes, what we usually do is to highlight the entire column, right? Highlight the entire column, and we will get rid of all the duplicate data. Okay, anything that is repeating, we'll just clear it. We will not clear the entire record. So for example, this employee 1 is not referring to the same person. I think when you scroll down, the name of the person is Wilson or something, but this person here is Linda, right? If we don't know and we clear the whole record, we've removed Linda from our records. Maybe you are working on payroll and you've deleted the whole thing just because the ID is wrong. That means Linda is going to spend a month without pay, right? You will not like that. Linda will come and give you problems, right? So you are just trying to delete the employee ID and assign new ones, right? Just want to delete it and then give them their unique IDs, right? So we select the entire column, which is in column A, right? I select the entire column and then under the data, right? So in my menu, I'll go to the data menu, and when we move past the filtering and get into the data tools tab, when we get into the data tools tab, there should be a guy, yes, over here called remove duplicate. There's a guy here called remove duplicate, right? So we'll use him or her or it, right? We'll click on it to remove all the repeated employee IDs, okay? So when I click on it, it's asking me to expand my selection because I've only selected one column, right? It's asking me to expand it. No, I want to keep what I have. So I'll select the second option, which is continue with the current selection, right? I'll do that and then I'll select remove duplicates, right? And then it is telling me it found 29 duplicates and it has cleared all of them, right? It's found 29 duplicates. It's removed all of them, and then there are now 486 unique records or unique IDs. Okay, so when I scroll down, scrolling down, see that all these guys were having repeated ID cards. So now they don't have ID cards, right? So we can now go ahead and assign new unique IDs to them. Okay, So these guys, at first, they were having issues now. So look at Linda. Linda is over here now. Okay. All right. So let's now give them unique IDs. Okay. So all this that we are doing, we are cleaning our data. Okay. We are cleaning our data. And when you look at the last person, employee ID 500, right? Excel is smart enough to know that if we try to duplicate or fill in these guys, right, it would, because the number ends with 500, it will just keep incrementing the number. So if this is 500, the next one will be 501. Excel is that intelligent, right? So we just fill out, we'll duplicate it. So we come to the bottom, we get the plus symbol, we double click, and then Excel has given these guys unique IDs, right? So 500 is not the same as 501, it's not the same as 502. These are all unique, right? These guys now have their unique IDs, okay? So that's how to clean this data, right? So this one form of cleaning the data. Okay, let's look at another way, another thing that we can do to clean our data. If there are questions, let me have them. So if I'm not having any question, and like I said, I beg you, just be giving me some thumbs up, things like say you are doing well, or say you are not doing well, right? Then I'll know my people are following me. Okay, so just give me something so that I know I'm not alone. All right, let's keep going. Let's look at the next guy, the next question here. It says format hard date. We've already done that, right? These guys, where they were showing like this, right? We had to clean it, right, to make them look good, right? So now everything looks fine. Everything looks fine. Okay. From here, it says that convert all currency columns into the right format, right? So the next cleaning activity, this one we've been doing it, right? We've been doing this guy. Convert all the currency from columns into their right format. So anywhere that is supposed to be money, like basic salary is money, and then I think allowance is money, and then total salary is also money. It's telling us to make sure they look like money, right? So what this means is you are supposed to give them currency values, right? So we will just select all of them. Then this time we'll go to the home tab, home menu, and then go to the number tab and change them to currency, right? So now these guys are looking like money. Once you see them, you know we are dealing with money, right? So another cleaning activity for us is to make sure our currencies are showing their symbols. Okay, what next? Then F, I think, says yes, the F should be the last cleaning activity in this form. So it says these guys, don't worry about them. We'll do these guys as our last part one topic, right? So we'll look at them. Don't be scared. I'm with you, eh? Okay. Someone says, okay, very good. What about question D? Let me see what is in question D. Hey, question D. Okay, fill empty age values with the average. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for drawing my attention to question D. I thought that was what F was going to talk about, but that's not it. So let's look at question D. Fill empty age values with the average of departmental age values. Very good. That's what I wanted us to look at. So yeah, thank you for drawing my attention to it. And that is, I think, Bukari. Thank you. Okay. So let's look at it. Where is the age? This is the age column, right? This is the age column. This guy is not having an age. Who else? This guy is not having an age. This guy is here, right? So some of them are not having ages. And from our instruction, it says that we should fill the empty age values with the average departmental age values. So you take one department, you find their average age, and then you use it to fill the person's age for him or her, right? So that we don't leave it empty like that. It's not good. It's not good to have your cells empty. At first, we were just counting the cells that were not empty, right? But now we are going, right? And now we are very confident in Excel, so we have to do more. Okay, so for example, this guy is in the IT department. What is the average age of the IT department? We don't know. We have to find it. Once we find it, then we can come and just fill it out here. Are we okay? All right. So let's look at how we are going to do that. To do that, I created a new sheet, right? Created a new sheet on its own, so that we'll use it to do that calculation. Okay, so I'll just write here IT. Then I think the next department should be like finance. Then we have operations. We have HR. We have sales. And I think marketing, right? Good. These are the guys in the company. We are going to find the average age for all these guys. Okay. Now, if you remember from our last session, we use a function called the average if function, right? Use the average if function to average some columns based on some column, right? So we are going to use the department column, and then we try to find the average of the ages, right? So let's look at how we will do that over here. So when I come here, I can do all these operations on the same sheet, right? If I scroll here, right, I can do those operations, but I don't want to. I want us to also look at how we can reference a sheet in another sheet, right? How we can reference one sheet from another sheet, okay? So let's look at how we do that. Because we are going to use average if we are doing for the first guy, the IT department, I'll come to the cell A2, start with equal to average if, right? Select average if. Then it's asking me for my range, right? My range is in HR data 2, right? This sheet, right? So I'll click on it. Then when I do that, I now have to provide it with my column or the column range, right? If you remember from our last session, I have to provide with the column range. And the column range starts in D2. So I select D2, Control Shift, and then the down arrow will select the entire column, right? It will select the entire column. Then when I go back, you see that the formula, it says average if sheet. Oops, okay, sorry, it has changed. Oh my goodness. I want us to look at how to reference two sheets, one sheet from another sheet. Okay, so let me do it again. Go back and over here, I think E1, E2, right? Then Control Shift, down arrow, selects everything. Then before I go back to click on sheet 2, I'll press on the comma. Okay. Right now, you realize that as I press on the comma, the highlighting is gone, right? That means I can now start working on the next parameter. So I'll go back and look at it. So go back to sheet 2. And then because I have still opened the bracket, look carefully. Look at it carefully. It is written here sheet 2. I don't want this out. Then just this sheet 2. Now let me try and explain this side, right? So this is how to reference cells in one sheet in another sheet, right? Because we've started writing the formula and the bracket is opened, if I click on any of the sheets, their names will appear here, right? And then if I click on any cells range in that sheet, the cell's name will also appear here, right? So look at it. It says HR data 2. Which sheet is that? This sheet, right? This sheet, HR data 2. And then it says that it has selected HR data 2 and it has highlighted this column. from E2 all the way to what? E501, right? So that is how to reference a sheet, right? One sheet in another sheet. Are we okay? If that makes sense. So far, we've only been references cells and range in one sheet, right? But you can reference cells and range in another sheet. Okay, Excel is that flexible. Okay, if you remember, after we provide our range, the next thing is to provide our criteria, right? And our criteria is simple, which is what the IT. So we'll just write the IT over here. Then we bring another comma, and then it's asking us for the average range. In this case, our average range is the age range, right? So we'll go back to the sheet. That means we'll select the sheet again. Then we'll go to their ages, right? We'll go to their ages, and then we select, it's in column I, right? The age is in column I, so I'll select I2, press and hold down the control and the shift, and then the down arrow. Realize that, take note of this, right? As I mentioned the last time, once it sees a space, it's not going to continue to stop there. So I still press Control Shift down arrow to the next empty space, Control Shift down arrow, Control Shift down arrow, Control Shift down arrow, Control Shift down arrow. I'm still not there yet, so I'm still doing Control Shift down arrow, right? And I'm doing this all the way to the very bottom of the sheet, or the very last record in the sheet. Oops, I've overspilled. Good. So I'm back. Okay. So now that I'm done, before I go back to sheet 2, if I make a mistake and click on sheet 2, it will clear all these things I've done and just write the sheet 2, right? So I don't want that. Because this is the last requirement, I can just bring my bracket. So I'll press Control, my Shift, and then the 0, and close the bracket. Once I do that, realize that it has stopped highlighting, right? So when I go back, it will now give me my results, right? When I click on it, you see that the formula is in the formula bar. The function that we wrote, all the things in the formula bar. So we referenced our departments, right? Which is in HR data 2, column E2 to column E501. Our criteria is that anything that is equal to IT, right? And then our average range, we found it in HR data 2, cell I2, all the way to cell I501, right? Good. And that was what we used to get our average age for the IT people. And the average age is 41 years, right? Okay, so because age is supposed to be a whole number, we go to our number format and then we use our decimal places, right, to try and reduce it to a whole number. Good. So it's now 42 years, right? The average age of the people in the IT department, 42 years. So what I'll do is I'll just keep the 42 in my head, right? Keep it in my head, or yes, let me keep that, or I can copy that. Control C to copy, right? Control C to copy. Then I'll go to HR data 2. Now, we don't have to do it one by one, where let me see where IT guys are, who doesn't have an age. Let me see. I think there's one here, this guy. I don't have to now go looking for the IT guy, right? So this one is empty. Now I put there 42, then I scroll to the next IT guy, which is empty. This guy, then I put there 42. No. You don't have to do that. Because I've done my filtering, right? Because I've done my filtering, I can go on and use my filtering to do that, okay? So I'll filter out with my department, right? I'll click on the department and unselect everything. Then I'll select only the IT department and okay. Now, if you look here, you realize that everything is just the IT department, right? Then from here, now that my data is fewer, right, I can just go ahead and start, yeah, instead of doing one by one like I was saying, right, I can do one by one. It's giving me error, right? So let me clean that. If I want to paste, I'll right click and then, oops, okay, no problem. If it's not so much, I can just write 42, right? And just fill out. But it's not advisable to be going through and filling it out. So what we can do, right? If you remember the first thing that we did, we were doing find and replace, find and replace. We can do that over here. Because we've now filtered out and we are now seeing only the IT people, right? We can come and now replace, how do you call it? Anything that is empty in this row, in this column, sorry. So I'll go ahead and filter out the age, right? I'll filter out the age, and when I click on the filtering, it will show me all the various ages, and then it will also show me the blank spaces as well. So what I'll do is I'll unselect everything, and then I'll go down and select on the blank. I want it to show me only the blank ages, right? So right now, these guys over here, they are blank. So these are all the people without ages in the IT department. Then I can now go on and just start writing the 42 for them, right? Right now, it's just so few. I can just start writing the 42 for them. So let me take it back and do the filtering again, and then we move on. Good. And then even the filtering, let me remove the filtering, start from there, right? So this is what we had, right? We've already checked their average is 42. We want to fill it out. And then what we do is, because these are showing all the various departments which we are not interested in for now, we'll filter out all the other departments and leave out only the IT department, right? Now we know the IT department. But when you look in the age, whereas the ages are plenty, right? We don't want all of that. We just want the empty ones so that we can fill it out. So filter again, remove all the ages, uncheck all of them, and only check the blank ones, right? Now we know we have about 5 blank guys, and then we can go ahead and fill them out, right? When I write it, I can now duplicate it downwards. Oops, hey, what are you doing? Don't disgrace me. Right, so I'll just duplicate them here, 42, 42, 42 for everybody. Once I'm done, I can now remove my filtering, and there's no blank space for, or no blank age for people in the IT department, right? So we can do that for the other guys too. I don't want us to waste so much time on this, right? So you can do the rest. Now, in our assignments, what I expect us is, let me look at the question again. Fill empty age values with the average of the department's age values. Okay. Okay, yes, so that's just that. So that's just that, right? We just get the departments and then we find the average and then we use it to fill their empty ages. So let me remove this filter. So we can do it for, in our assignments, we can do it for HR, finance, operations, and all the rest. Once we know how to do for the IT, we should be very fine. Okay, next says fill the empty base salary values with the average base salary of their corresponding department and their job title. So this has 2 requirements, right? It says you are going to fill out the base salary. So let's look at the base salary over here, right? Base salary. NA, the NA guys, right? We are going to have to find average for them, right? Let's see. Now, this is not what you do for every other situation, right? Depending on the situation. Obviously, you cannot be averaging people, departments, and salary and giving it to workers. That's not what you do, right? If you go and get something, you are supposed to go and ask, how much is this person earning, right? They put it there. Don't go and be averaging department salary and be giving it to workers. You'll be in big problem, right? But this for learning purposes, so we can do that. It says fill the empty base salary values with the average. Joshua, I hope you are seeing now. I hope you are seeing now, right? The data, what the sheet I'm using, right? I'll give it to you as an assignment, so you guys don't have it right now, okay? I'll give it to you as an assignment, okay? So where were we? The base salary, right? It says that you are going to average the base salary of the corresponding department and then their job title. So this is what it means. This is what it means. It means that this person here, this guy, employee 25, we have to know employee 25's department, right? And when we know his department, we also have to know his job title. We have to know his job title, right? So these two things are what we are going to average. Obviously, if you come to every department, the coordinator will not take the same salary as the analyst, and the analyst will not take the same salary as the executive, right? So we are going to find their departments, and then we'll find their job title and use that to get the average, right? We'll use that to get the average, and when we do get the average, we'll come and place it for that person, okay? All right, so let's look at how we do that. Hey, even just this one is taking us the whole time. Our time is even up. Hey, so just the data cleaning has taken all our time. I've not looked at the index and the match, but yeah, it's all good. In fact, today is supposed to be our last session, but you and I know if we end here, we have not really gotten everything I want us to get. So we'll continue about 2 more sessions before we'll draw down the curtains. Okay, so let's not worry. Yes, so to answer this question too, we equally need a new sheet, right? So I think I'll use the same one, right? I'll use the same one to do that. So what I'll do is, because it's for the age, I'll leave it like that. I'll come here and then let me copy these guys, copy them, and Control V to paste them here. When I do that, I also need the various, how do you call it, the job titles, right? So I'll insert a blank column over here. Over here, I'll write, I think let's look at the various job titles. I know you don't see this, but I'll click on my filtering, and then I can tell we have analyst, we have assistant. So let me do that here. Analyst, we have assistant, after that we have analyst, assistant, coordinator, executive, coordinator, then we have executive, and who else do we have? Who else do we have in our job title? We have manager and officer as well, or manager, and then we have officer. Good. So these are our various titles in every department, right? So this that I've done here, I will copy and Control C to copy, come and insert, oops, Control Z, let me see, insert, good. Then I'll paste this guy here. Ooh. Copy, Control C, Control V, paste. Then you two, you need a space. Okay. I'll now copy you and paste you. I'll do that for everybody. All right. I'll leave the rest. The rest is for you. You are very hardworking students. I know you can do this. Okay, so I'll just highlight all these guys. I'll give them a different background so that I know they belong to various departments. So this guy can have, this guy can have that. And you can also have something nice, right? Now we know these guys are IT, finance, operations. Good. So we are supposed to find the average salaries for the average base salaries, right, for the IT department and the various job titles. You have to do it for every single department, okay? In our assignment, that's what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, you get wrong data or wrong results. Right, so the two criteria is because you are going to do average if, right? We are going to just start writing our average if function over here. We are doing the first one for the analyst. In fact, I'm not going to do everyone. I'll leave them to you. I'm that lazy, right? So yeah, I'll leave the rest to my students to suffer. All right, so average if are we using average if? Are we using average if? Great. In this situation, we are not going to use average if, okay? What we are going to use is called average ifs over here. Let me write that, average ifs. If you start typing the average on your keyboard, you see that option, right? Average ifs, right? It gives you the opportunity to provide more than one, how do you call it? More than one criteria, okay? Remember, we are looking for the department and then we're also looking for the role job title. Two things. It's not just one. It's not just like the previous one that we're just looking at the department. This time we're looking at the department and then we're looking at the job role or your job title. So two things. That means you need to use multiple average function, and that is the average ifs, okay? So you can also have situations where you do count ifs. It's possible, right? Okay, so let's do the average ifs, and then our life will be very, very comfortable for us. So I'll select the average ifs. Now it's asking me for average range. Now this time, it's asking me for the average range first and foremost. Remember when we used just the average if, the average range was the last thing that we provided. But this time, it is the first thing that we'll provide. It wants to know exactly the range you want to average before it will even ask you for the criteria, right? But in the previous one, the previous average if, it was asking us for the criteria before it asked us for the how do you call it, the average range. Are we okay? So let's go on and provide it to the average range first, okay? And then we'll continue and we'll journey on, okay? So we'll go to the sheet, HR data 2, and because you are working with the base salary, I'll start by selecting J2, press Control down shift and then the down arrow, and it has highlighted everything for me, right? Before I go back to sheet 2, I'll just type my comma so that it knows that I'm done providing the whole range. Then I can go back to sheet 2. Because I clicked on sheet 2, realize that it has brought sheet 2 here, so I just clean this, right, up to here. Good. Now it's asking me for my criteria range 1, my very first criteria. What is my criteria? What's my criteria range? What is it? Right, and the criteria range has to do with the department. The first criteria, remember you're doing two criteria, the department and then the job title, right? So we'll go and provide it with the first criteria or the first range, which is the department. So we go back to HR data 2. In fact, if we finish this, I think I'll have to leave us here before we get information overload, right? So don't worry. Once we finish with this one, I will not continue with the index and the match. Okay, so the department is over here. Select E2, press down Ctrl Shift and then down arrow. I've selected everything. Before I go, I'll bring my comma and then I go back to sheet 2. Then let me clean sheet 2 from here. Now, once I do that, I can now go on and provide it with my criteria, right? What should it look out for in the range, the criteria range that I've provided, the department criteria range that we provide? What do you want? We are looking for everything IT, right? So we'll put here IT. Are we okay? We'll put here IT. Now, once we do that, I hope you understand what this one means. So this means that this range over here is where it's going to look for the word IT in, right? This range here is where it's going to average, right? But before it averages, it has to come and look for this range, and then in this range, it's looking for the IT department. Okay, that's the first criteria. So we bring a comma, and then we can now go on to the next criteria. So if you have 1,000 criteria, you can keep providing them, right? But because ours is just 2, this is our last criteria, right? So we'll go back to HR data 2. And then our next criteria is that we are interested in the job title, right? So F2, Ctrl Shift, down arrow, select everything, and a comma to tell us that you are done selecting. Good. Then we can go back to sheet 2. We can go back to sheet 2, and then I'll clean sheet 2 from here. And then what's the criteria? What am I looking for in sheet 2? Because we are dealing with the analyst, right? Because we are dealing with the analyst, we'll put the analyst over there, right? Then we close this guy. Once we know that we are done with all our criteria, we can go on and close the brackets for the average ifs, right? We are done. Press on our enter, and straight away it is telling us that the average salary for anybody with this job title under the IT department is earning 4,831 Ghana cedis, 71 pesos as his base salary. So let's make that currency. Yeah, right. So an average analyst in the IT department of our company is earning 4,831 Ghana cedis, 71 pesos. Very good. So what I'll do is I can copy this formula and duplicate it downwards, and then I'll just make some few changes to it, right? But because we are learning, I'll do the whole thing over again, okay? But before I do the whole thing over again, I want us to go and fill this data into where it's supposed to be in our sheet, our data sheet, right? So let me copy this value. Then we'll go to these guys. We are back again. Now this time we are going to filter like we did for the previous one, right? We'll filter out all the various departments. So I'll click on my filtering for my department. filter out all of them, leaving out only the IT department, right? Then I click on OK. Now I have only IT department showing. Then, because the scenario or the criteria was 2, I have to come to the next guy, the job title. And when I come to the job title, I'll filter everyone out, leaving only the analyst, right? Now, I have very few data here that I can work with. So when I come to my basic salary, there is only one guy who is called David Boateng, always a David, right? Hey, how is David Boateng female? Hey, what is this, right? So I'll now, because David Boateng doesn't have a basic salary, I'll right click and then I'll just paste the value over here for David Boateng. Now David Boateng is also earning 4,831 Ghana cedis, right? Even though there are some people who are earning more than him, there are also some people who are earning less than him. That is why in real life you can't do this, right? In real life you can't do this. You have to actually go and ask for the actual, but because it's an exercise, we are at liberty to do this, right? So right now, David Boateng is sorted now. His salary, his basic salary is now sorted. So as you can see, we are cleaning the data, right? Cleaning the data, making sure that there are no empty values, right? We provide everything. So we can now bring back all the other guys. We remove the filtering, bring back everybody. Yay, everybody's happy. Good. Right. My people, give me some thumbs up. Oh, the teacher is doing well. Give your teacher some thumbs up and let your teacher know that, yeah, he's informed. Right? Okay, so still there are more NAs, right? There are more NAs over here for us to deal with. Let's look at another one. So it's the same thing we are supposed to do for this and this and that and that. So you can just, when you do the first one, you know already, you copy the formula and then just make the changes that you have to do, right? To get the rest of the guys, right? So instead of doing any of these ones, I'll just come and do another department so that, yeah, just for us to know that, yeah, we can do this thing. My people, I trust my people. So we'll do for the finance, but we'll not do the analyst. We'll do for the executive. Okay, the executive finance guys. Okay. So equal to average ifs, right? First thing first is our average range. Okay, so we go to HR data 2 and we are going after our department. Oh, sorry, we are going after our basic salary. Hey, teacher, Sado. So we are going after our basic salary. So that is J2. Then Control Shift down arrow, select everything. Then I'll hit a comma to tell Excel I'm done with that range. Go back, wipe out this sheet 2. Then I can now start providing my criteria range and then my criteria, okay? So our criteria range, the first one is the department as usual, so HR data 2, and our department is in column E, so, whoa, did I just make a mistake? Whoa. Okay, no, I didn't make a mistake. I'm good. Oh, teacher can't make a mistake. I just have to scroll up. So E2, Control Shift down arrow, we get everything. Then I'll bring my comma to tell Excel I'm done with the range. I'll wipe out this sheet 2, and then it is now asking for the criteria. The criteria is that you are looking for anything under the finance department. Good. I'll bring a comma, and then my nice criteria has to do with my job title range, right? So I'll go back to HR data 2, scroll back up. Good. And then the job title, so F2, Control Shift down arrow, gets everything. Another comma, and we are done with the range. We are done with the range. I'll clean the sheet too. Then my criteria over here is my executive people. Exe, right? Very good. Once I'm done with that, I think we are done, right? Just two criteria, right? So we are done. We've provided the department, we've provided the job title. So we can close our average ifs bracket like that nicely. It's plain to write, but if you understand, oh, it will not, you'll not be shaking at all. When you see this thing, you'll not shake. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to remove the fear, take it all out, and then in the replacement of fear, put more confidence, right? So when you open any Excel, you are champion. You don't fear anything, right? So this is what we've done. Average ifs, and then we provided our basic salary range as our average range, right? Then our first criteria range is our department, and then our criteria is that you're looking for the finance. And then our next criteria range was found in our job title range, right? And then in that range, we are looking for executive people, okay? So we can now hit on the enter key, and straight away, wow, our executive people are earning a whopping 5,000 Ghana cedis with some 83 pesos coins on the side, which is very good, right? So now we know our finance executive guys, how much they earn. So we just copy this guy, Control C, copy him. Then we come back to our data sheet, okay? When we come back to our data sheet, we can now filter out our department, get just the finance guys over here. And when we do, we can now just filter our job titles and just get the executive people over here. Unfortunately or fortunately for us, executive guys are all paid, right? I mean, you can't do that mistake with them, right? All of them are paid, so we cannot, we don't have anything to worry about. Once you realize all of them are paid, it means you don't have to do anything, right? Good. So this is what you do for the other people too. So you do this one by one. Make sure there are still more departments, right? You do for all of them, then use it to fill out every single empty basic salary. Okay, right. So that's it. That's what you're supposed to do, and that's what I expect you to do in our assignment. This guy here, I will delete it so we don't even stress ourselves about it. And then conditional formatting, use icons. Yes, this one we've done it, right? We've done this guy. So it's use icons to conditionally format columns J and K. What is in column J and column K? J is basic salary and K is the allowance. Okay, so use the icons. Okay, what it means is that you highlight all of the basic salaries, right? Then you go to your styles tab in the home menu and you look for your conditional formatting. You select it, and then when you look in the drop down, you find icon set, right? Icon set, and then you can use any of the icons, plenty icons, you can use any of them, right? To just do this work. As you can see, once I bring the icons, hash them out. This only saying it's not getting space, so you just align, right? Everything is back. Anybody that is red is earning some 2,000, right? Anybody who is like 5,000 is an average earner, and anybody earning above 6,000 is really earning, right? So that's what the data means. Okay, so these are the icons just to tell us that, yeah, if you see any green one, it means that that person is really being paid, right? And then the red people, we have to do something about the red. We can't have work and our employees are earning small. So it's either you move all of them to the yellow, right? So that everybody will make money. You are here to make money. So you do this as your icon set. So you use one icon set, then the next one to use a different icon set, right? So the icon sets are many, have different, right? So this is another set. So it's at your own discretion. There's icon sets that you would like to use. You do that one, okay? I think this one makes sense when you're dealing with money, right? The down and then the up and the side arrows. If you see it's down, you know that no, something is not going well. How can you be earning 224 allowance? Okay, this is just allowance, right? But still, you can do better, right? Can do better. Okay, so that's just for today. I think we spent more time today. But yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. Okay, thank you very much for attending class today. And we would continue. We'll finish with day 5 and then we'll pick up week 2. Then we start with week 2, day 1 up to week 2, day 5. From week 3, day 1 all the way to week 3, day 5. And then our certificates are a done deal, right? So we have about 2 more live sessions. And then, so the next time we'll look at the index. I really thought the data cleaning was going to be just straight away and then we finish, but yeah, God has other plans, right? So we'll look at these 2 next week, look at them, and then we go on. Where I want us to get to, by all means, get there before I leave you, right? So let's not worry. Okay, thank you for attending class today, guys. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting my icons, my thumbs up. Yes, thank you. All right, so see you guys.